Okay, so today, as we discuss, we are going to learn about the Java as a object-oriented language, right?
Mm-hmm,
So one
mm-hmm,
basic feature of Java language are Java is a object, we can say object-oriented programming language. Oops,
mm-hmm.
right?
Oops. Yeah.
So we are going to discuss what is the object, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What is the object, okay?
Right.
These are the basic things about this language.
Mm-hmm.
So can you consider, what is the object?
Object. Oh,
Hmm.
there's a. You are looking for that, like, for the what's called that definition.
In the real life, what do you think? What is the object? Don't think as a programming language.
A complete thing, a complete thing,
Kind example,
a class,
what is the
maybe.
class?
Class is the different thing. Object is like the material thing that can be seen, is like what we can touch, or a
Yeah, this
person
is the one
thinks,
thing. Yes, this is one thing. What
a
we can touch.
person, yeah, or a person or thing to
Hmm.
which is specified action or feeling is,
Hmm.
or feeling is directed or something like that.
Okay, this is the
Process.
good. Can be. So object is anything that we can see, we
Mm-hmm.
can feel, we can
We can,
use.
we can touch. Yeah.
Yeah, with our five organ sense, right?
Uh-huh.
We have a five organ sense. You know what is the
Right.
five organ sense? Tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. Eye, our
Eye,
tongue, our nose,
tongue,
our
nose,
ear, and our hand. Yeah.
n-
Oh, this
skin,
heart.
skin.
Skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from these five organ
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
whatever I feel,
Mm.
whatever I see, all are considered as an object.
Okay.
Like best option, we see my mobile. I
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mobile is an object. My
Yeah.
laptop is an object. My bike is
Right.
an object. My house is an object. Even all you is one object. I am an
Yeah.
object. Human being is an object. Animal is an object. Each
Right.
and everything what you can think or visualize, consider as
Visual.
an object.
Right.
Best example, I am a one object. You is the one object.
Yeah.
That is one of object.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So reality Java say each and everything you can under assume as a object.
Mm-hmm.
So any doubt what is object? Object is
Yeah.
anything which you
What you
can
can see.
imagine, you can think, you can seek, you can see, you can talk about. All are the considered object,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So this is the our real life definition object.
Right.
So basic purpose of our Java as a object oriented programming language means ki in our reality always we are living in a object, and we are uh, uh, as a human being, as a office, as a organizations, each and
Mm-hmm.
everything whatever they are doing as a object in the form, right?
Right.
So in the real problem of finance department, a real problem of IT department, yeah, real problems of your stock market or medical domains, any domains, right?
Mm-hmm.
So generally, as a human beings, we are working in a different sector, right? Someone
Right.
working in the defense sector, someone maybe medical sector, someone maybe FMCG sector, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here human face some challenges, repetition of works, right? Lots of labor required, lots of time required to solve, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our as a human we have actual kind of works which we want to repetition of works. I want works as early completed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our programming language, a computer, is just helping tool so that our computer, our programming language help us to address our human problem,
Right.
right? So is there a so this object oriented programming language say say ki whatever the real life problem you have, right? Real life problem
Mhm.
you have similarly make some copy in the computer system as a programming language, right?
All right.
And
Yeah.
same terminology you can use what in the real life you are using, so that
Mm-hmm.
we can easily talk here your problem as in the form of language,
Mm-hmm.
so that if you talking programming language as a same terminology, same word,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense to discuss and solve the real problem.
Right.
So object oriented paradigm say कि whatever your real life entity object problem situation, same we can map in the our programming language.
Right.
So here objective in the coming session about the object oriented whatever the real problem in the life, same thing we are going to give in this our programming language, same terminology, same name.
Right.
So in
True.
coming days, these are the feature about the Java as a object oriented programming language, means ki all the object in the real life our we have
Mm-hmm.
same we can discuss in the programming language, so that we can use the processing capability of our computer system to address those some problem.
Right.
Nowadays our computer or software are not handle address all the human problem, but some of the problems surely they can address, right?
Right.
Slowly we are gradually we are increasing, right?
Right.
Day by day, as per our programming experience, maturity of the programming, right?
Right.
So here now a couple of sessions we are going to understand how the human related terminology, real life with the problem, we can directly map to the programming language. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
good. Good
Good.
example. As a first, I am a human being, right? As a car,
Right.
as a mobile, these are the human things we are really using.
Right.
So those things, can we write the program, cannot use, why not use, right?
Right.
So so here consider object is the real time entity which are really used, like a car. Car is the one object which we
Mm-hmm.
use to communicate, travel
Right.
from one place to another place, right?
Right.
We have animal, we have a employee. Employee the real entity which help us to address our organization problem, right?
Right.
So this terminology, why not use in a programming language same as a similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's example employee. Okay, in
Mm-hmm.
any organization we have employee. Employee
Right.
one, lots of employee make a organization, right?
Right.
So this let's key we have a one organization, one company. This company have a let's four employee, right? Employee one,
Mm-hmm.
employee two, employee three, employee five. Okay, four, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the things, this is the one organization. Organization also is entity, also is the object.
Mm-hmm.
And this employee also is an object, also is an entity. So if you,
Uh,
yes,
you said like entity, like employee is
entity or
entity.
object are same word. Entity
Say
in the
okay.
terms of yes, entity you can say object you can say the same interchangeable words, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we
So
can
let's
say just like what we are thinking as a human being, we are entity.
yeah,
As a, like for my just devices, which one I can touch or
yes,
what I can like. I feel that it is working, but there is an entity as well, right?
right.
That's the mean. Okay.
So if you think any object have a some characteristics, let's this
Mm-hmm.
is the my maybe uh my mobile, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my mobile have a some characteristics. Yeah, my laptop have a some characteristics. My
Yes, yes, yeah.
uh, maybe I am itself I have a some characteristic, right?
Right.
So what characteristic? Generally, if we observe all the object, so
Mm-hmm.
I find something each and every have some two kind of generally property
Mm-hmm.
characteristics. One
That's
is the physical appearance, like
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
length and width and height, right?
Mm-hmm.
Physical appearance, physical look, right? Like
Right.
car have a some
Mm-hmm.
height, come length, some width, right?
Right.
Mobile have a some length, width, height, right? As a
Exactly.
human being have a some length, width, height, some weight,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
one characteristic is a physical appearance.
Right.
Physical appearance, right?
Mhm. Right.
Another characteristic is the use, like a mobile. Why mobile use? We operate something. Like car. Why use car? To travel from one place to another place, right? Work. So each object generally have a two kind of characteristics. One is the physical appearance from which
Mhm.
they are built up, and second,
Mhm.
why we are using those. What are the function? What is the use?
Right.
Like we have a one uh, car example. So car have a physical appearance and also have a use to travel from cover complete a travel distance from one place to another place. So this is the
Understand.
functionality, right? As a
Right.
we human being,
Mhm.
we have a some characteristic like I have eye, hand, leg, body. These are the my characteristics. From these characteristics, we are built, right? And what is the my function? I can speak, I can see, I can learn, I can walk. These are the my functionality.
What is the you mentioned that the characteristics you said like
So one characteristic is the physical appearance, like from
okay.
which components these objects are made. Like a
Mhm.
pen is the example, right? This is my pen.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
pen is made up of some component, like some plastic box, some refill, some needle, right?
Right.
Right.
And they have some length, some width, some height, right?
Right.
The physical appearance is the one characteristic from
Okay.
which, and second, what the purpose of pen, what the pen is doing. Pen is used for
Mhm.
writing, right? Maybe
Right.
blue color writing, red color writing, black color
Right.
writing. These are the functionality, right?
Right.
So any object, just think, is the two main key characteristics. One is the things from which the particular object is made.
Right.
Second, what are the use? What the functionality, right?
Right.
So those things we have to whenever we are defining one object, like let's say employee. Employee is the one object. So basic characteristics employee some have some name, some age, some height, some address, right?
Mhm.
These are the one characteristics. What the
Mhm.
function? Employee can work, eh?
Right.
Employee
Right.
can walk, employee can speak. These are
Right.
the functionality, right?
Functionality. Yeah.
So each and every object we have a two major characteristics. One, the field or attribute from which the object is made, right?
Mhm.
Field or you can say attributes from where the particular object is made, means physical appearance.
Mhm.
So this is known as a programming language. Field or attribute or variable. Whatever the physical appearance can be measured using the variable name or you can say attribute or field. And
Mhm.
second, what is the use? Means ki why, what is the function of those objects? That
Mhm.
function in the programming language say as a method or as a function. Any terminology you can use, right? So in one object, generally we have these two attributes. One is your attributes or field, another is like a function or method.
I didn't get this one. Can you tell me one more time, Ajay,
Yes.
please?
Yeah. So in real time, any object have a two characteristics. One is the physical appearance from which the object was made.
Mhm.
For example, like a table. Okay,
Uh-huh.
this is the table. So for
Mhm.
making table, we need the length of table, the width of
Right.
table, and height of the table, right?
Right.
What is the height of the table we are going to make, right?
Right.
Right.
So these until we have not length, width, height, we cannot make a table, right?
No.
If we want to make a table, I have to say, hey, carpenter, I want to make one table of the length this, width this, height this.
Right.
So length, height, width is your property, yeah, attribute of in the table,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And what is the use? Why you are using the table? Table we are using to maybe using for the keeping laptop or putting some as a table study table, right? This is the use.
Right.
What is the
Right.
use of table? to use. Use means function.
Right. Okay.
Rigid. So generally in Java or any object, you can say object have a generally two kind of feature. One is the attribute from which the object was made, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second, why use those object? What is the function? What is the work of that object?
Okay.
Look.
Mm-hmm.
So like clear any object in the real life, always object exists. Whenever we birth in this universe as a
Mm-hmm.
one object,
Mm-hmm.
right? And by
Right.
default, our attribute is my hand, my head, my leg, my body, right? These are my
Mm-hmm.
attributes. Okay.
Right.
What my
Right.
function? My I speak, I talk, I walk. These are my
Mm-hmm.
function, right?
Right.
uh, as a human body, I can say I have a two property. One is the element from which our body made. Second,
Mm-hmm.
once made the body, our body do some function like speaking, like writing, like running, like anything, right?
You're right.
The second property known as a function.
Mm-hmm.
So now those things we can map in a computer as well as a programming language. So programming
Mm-hmm.
language say कि first physical appearance from which the object was made is known as a field or attribute or variable. This terminology we are going to use. I am giving some example. And the my functions, the my role, what as object doing is known as a method or function. So generally, we know what is the method or what is the function. That means the work of this object. Why use this object? What the object, the purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how object was made of this element, right?
You're right.
So let us give the example.
Sure.
So in real life, problem is that always object exists, right?
Right.
Like a car is the
Mm-hmm.
object exist we are using, right?
Right.
But car somehow first constructed, right?
Mm-hmm.
For constructing car we need some element like you need a
Mm-hmm.
wheel, like a goggles, like lots of iron material, engine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we have all the things, car is made, and once
Mm-hmm.
car made, we are going to use to travel the distance.
Right.
So car is a one object, and notice from one car. Let's say example for any model like Audi. Audi is the one car. So as Audi is the one car, one kind of a model. This is the model, length, height, color. If you
Mm-hmm.
define, Audi create one car, and similarly thousands of car they can build, right?
Yes.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
all these are the object.
Right.
Finally, notice all the thousands of Audi car is made up of some specific instruction, right?
True.
The model, the height, the width, the color, the
Yeah.
speed, the engine capacity, right?
Many more things. Yeah.
So whenever we can define one set of instruction, from
Mm-hmm.
this set of instruction, lots of object, real object can be built.
Right.
So in the reality, whenever I am going to build any gadget or object or mobile, first we have to define the specification, right?
Mm-hmm.
The specification means the attribute.
Attributes.
Let's
Yeah.
I want to go carpenter. Hey, carpenter can build one car table for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you say some table, then we have to give some kind of instruction to him, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
My table would be the length this, height this, and with this, right?
Right.
So this instruction, using this instruction, your carpenter can create maybe one table, two table, 10 table, whatever number of table you want, right?
Right.
So these are the actually the table one, table two, all are the object. But
Right.
these tables are made from some specific instruction, right?
True.
Some prerequisite. Those prerequisite is one and created multiple object, right? This is object one,
Mhm.
object two, object three, object four.
Right.
So similarly, in our computer, I am going to create any object, object 1, object 2, object 3, object 4, we have to first define the specification, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
object have a what kind of field, what kind of method,
Mm-hmm.
right?
True.
So here, this specification is known as a Java as a class,
Mm-hmm.
and the actual object is created known as object itself. The Java
Mm-hmm.
for object, there will no specific word. Java also say object, all are the object.
Mm-hmm.
But these objects are made from specific instruction, right?
Right.
Those specific instructions considered as a class.
Right.
Good example like I am created my house. Okay, so my
Right.
house have a some length, some width, some height, the number of houses, the number of height of my kitchen, bathroom, each and everything, right?
Right.
So first I am going to create my building. I have to on a paper or as a, we made some architecture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Architecture. Here we
Right.
decide ki in this my land, we have a two bedroom, and
Mm-hmm.
the bedroom's length and height would be this, and
Mm-hmm.
kitchen, door, window, each and everything we have to specify in my paper, right?
True.
And using this designs, this
Mm-hmm.
architect, I'm just say, hey, my uh, builder, can you build my house? And builder
Mm-hmm.
using this designs, this architect, they can build your house, right?
Right. Right.
And might be you can say, ki, hey, I want to build this same house in the my two places. So they are
Mm-hmm.
building the same instruction in the different places, right?
Right. Right.
If you notice in a society, same kind of building are created in each floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Means for this, first we define your house architecture, and
Right.
then same architecture use we can build house one, house two, house three, and any number of. So these houses are real object, right?
Right.
Object.
Right.
Whatever the your architect or
Mm-hmm.
designs is your class.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the difference between object and a class?
Same I'm explaining. Your on your pen and paper, you just write the specification in I want. I have a two room, one bathroom, and length and width of this. So this is not actual things you can use. On a paper, you design one house architect. This is usable? Not.
No.
If the same designs you say, hey architect, can you build for me? Or hey
Mm-hmm.
builder, you can build my house. Now
Mm-hmm.
our house is built, then we are going to live in, right? The
Mm-hmm.
object is the real time entity which we are using, where we can
Okay,
live.
okay. Mhm.
And class, yeah, our designs is just on a specification, just on a paper, logical things, there is no any use, right? But
Mm-hmm.
using this specification, our builder build my house.
That's right.
Once house is built, then we can use the same my house, room, each and everything, whatever written here, right?
That's when we can say this like class is an, a blueprint,
Class is a blueprint, yes.
and then object
Real
is
entity, yes.
the real entity, actually
Really,
real.
which are really we are using.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like the car
Hmm.
is an object, but when like there is a blueprint, there's a
Yes.
design and everything.
Before
That's a
before
class.
making your car, someone have designed the blueprint of the car, right?
Exactly.
Car
That's the
would be
class.
like height, length, color, speed, model,
True.
each and everything, right? We have
True.
written some on the white paper, or some designs. So these designs are just logical, conceptual things, right? That not
Exactly.
reality.
No,
But
not really.
when a
Yeah.
car manufacturer company, you give the instruction, hey,
Mm-hmm.
car manufacturer company, I have a this specification. Can you build a car for me? That
Mm-hmm.
manufacturer company can build a car one.
Right.
Might we
Right.
can say I want to build 1,000 cars, similar functionality. They build a
Right.
1,000 car for you.
Exactly.
So these
Exactly.
1,000 car are real entity that can be used. But all
100%.
these thousands car is made from this specification.
True. True.
So these specifications are blueprint, yeah, architect known as a class, and
Mhm.
all the actual things known as a object.
Right. Now I understand. Yeah,
Now I understand.
So
100%.
understand?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Ajay. Yeah.
So let's think. Now we are understand as a human, as a reality. In
Mhm.
our real life, whatever the human made thing, like
Mhm.
a car, mobile, laptop, my bed, my house, whatever
Mhm.
we made, first we generally go to create the specification,
Right.
designs, blueprint,
Mhm.
and then mating, right?
Right.
This is the human made process, right?
Sure.
But if you reverse some object which we see in this universe, that is the nature made, like we as a human being, we
Mhm.
are not made by some design, right?
Right.
Right.
Like mountain, like river, like water, like air, they are
We
not
cannot make
made
that.
by this some design, right?
Right.
Might be some design, but we don't know, we have not the capacity to measure, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
in the
design
real
belongs to.
life, we found two types of object. One, the
Mhm.
object is created on the basis of some specification, right?
Mhm.
And some object which we see like earth, like moon, like sun, right? These are
Mhm.
not created on the basis of some diagram or some
Right.
architecture, right? These are the
Mhm.
by default exist.
Mhm.
So something we cannot map directly to the computer system, but as a reality, what we can do nowadays, same we can map in our computer.
Right.
But what as a our human being, as a human psychology say, let's for human made things, it is clear. कि First we design architects, specification, then build lots of object, right? It's
Mhm.
okay. But that nature made thing, like the animal, right? Lots of
Mhm.
ox, lots of buffalo, lots of
Mhm.
duck, lots of dog, lots of cat. All are the
Mhm.
cats, have a same specification. If you look the 10 cat, similar kind of length, width, color, eye, right?
Right.
Let's say buffalo. If you look the buffalo, almost same kind of property, same kind of color,
Mhm.
same kind of function. So what we
Mhm.
think as a human being, all human being is the one category. Like a human being, the one category. We have a two hand, two eye, two leg, one nose, right?
Mhm.
So as a human generated all the object, we can say कि they belong some category. They
Mhm.
belong some category. Maybe one category human category, one
Mhm.
category maybe animal, one
Mhm.
category maybe natural resources like a tree,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
water. So
Right.
as a human being, we are all the existing object as a natural bound. We are categorize them like a
Right.
human. Like all human
Mhm.
almost have the same property, same behavior, right?
Right.
Like dog is the animal. All dog almost have the same kind of function, same kind of behavior, right?
Right.
Cat, kind of all kind of cat have the same kind of functionality, same kind of behavior. So
Mhm.
existing thing we logically group in a one category.
Mhm.
So in a compute, whenever sometime I am going to write a map our nature generated object in the computer programming language. So I'm not
Mhm.
saying I'm creating the some architect, yeah, blueprint. I say कि I have a some category of that. So those category
Mhm.
considered as a one class. Human being is a one class. Animal is a one class, right?
True.
And in this class, lots of human created, right?
Mhm.
So we have just map our programming all the existing object as a some category. Some category known
Mhm.
as a class. Actual object is the object.
True.
So is it clear? We all are the human being as an object. So what is our class? Our class is a
Mhm.
human being.
Mhm.
Human being is just a logical category, right?
Mhm.
Like all animals. All animals is object. So what is the class of those objects? It's the
Mhm.
animal, right?
True.
Mm.
So for existing natural resources, we have given concept of categories, and
Right.
that category is known as a class.
Right.
Is it clear?
It
Yes.
is.
So these are the psychology where our programming language are going to map existing object in the computer as a
Mm-hmm.
programmer model, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's look some simple example ki how we can create the class, and from class we can create the multiple object 1, object 2, object 3. Is it clear what is the class? Class is just blueprint, right?
Plus the blueprint, yeah.
Just logical specification on paper
Mm.
base. This is the logical entity, not
All right.
usable.
Mm-hmm.
But with the help of this class, we can generate actual object. This object we can use. This
All
we can same specification. You can create multiple object.
right.
So is it clear? Always use the object. Class is not usable entity, but
Mm-hmm.
using this class we can create the object. Right? The class
Right.
is just set of instruction or just specification or just blueprint.
Exactly.
So this blueprint contains just specification key whenever I'm going to create object, what the property of the object would be like.
True.
In the case of table, I want to create the class table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Class table. Okay, this is the class table. So
Right.
if this is a class table, so this is not any specification. What is the height? What is the length? What is the width? If
Mm-hmm.
someone going to create the object of table without any length, width, height, is really makes sense?
Right.
Anyone you can ask carpenter, I can just create a table, but no length, no width, no height. Carpenter can create
Mm-hmm.
the object?
No. No.
No, they cannot
No.
create, because you
No.
must specify something, right? Some field,
Yeah.
some
Right.
attribute. So in the reality here, in the programming language, you can write class, and here you
Mm-hmm.
can say class table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Table and object
Mm-hmm.
equal to new table.
Mm-hmm.
So notice in the programming language, we are able to create the object of table class, but then don't have any line. It makes sense any? If I ask you what is the length of this table, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you look, this is the object. We can create it similarly may object 1, object 2, object 3.
Mm-hmm.
Object 1, object 2, object 3.
Right.
So, but that not makes sense. This table is the we are using the real life word table, right? But
Mm-hmm.
reality in the table always needs some kind of height with length, right?
Right.
So how I can enforce, hey compiler, you cannot create table like this way. Here
Right.
you are able to create object, but that is not really make sense. Table
Mm-hmm.
without any length with is exist really? No. So how can, hey compiler, you cannot create table like this way? I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, hey, this table must need a kind of a length, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some width,
Mm-hmm.
width, and some
Mm-hmm.
height, right?
Right.
So if you mention here, right? Uh, so still our compiler is very happy. There is no any problem if you just write output.
Mm-hmm.
They are not blaming anything. They are still print okay,
Sure.
right? If you run your code run properly, now if someone say ki, I created the object 1, object 3, object table of object, right?
Right.
That reality in computer you can do. There is no any kind of compiler problem. It's okay, but really it is not a real object, right? So our
Right.
programming is should match to the reality, right? Table
Mm-hmm.
means some table, right?
Right.
So how to enforce? So here I am going to say कि whenever someone going to create the object of table,
Mm-hmm.
they need input like your length, like your width, like
Mm-hmm.
your let's like a height.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Just whatever the length, whatever the width equal to width, whatever height, right?
Mm.
So here, what I am trying to say here, now we are created. If some I'm going to, hey carpenter, create table, then carpenter ask me this question: give me the length, give me the width. Now you notice our compiler is not happy to create table.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are just defining one class. That class say I'm going to create table object, but this table must need length, width, height.
Mm-hmm.
So this,
Mm-hmm.
whenever someone going to create object, this code will enforce compiler. Hey compiler, you are going to construct object. These input
Mm-hmm.
must needed, and
Right.
without passing this input, you cannot create object. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you run this code, compiler is unhappy. Compiler cannot create construct table without length with height, right?
Right.
You cannot construct table without this parameter.
Right.
So here we have to pass. I'm going to create table, maybe length 20,
Mm-hmm.
30, 15, right?
Right.
Any object you can going to create, you have to specify some,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
now we create object 1 of length 20, 30, and 15. It makes
Right.
sense, right?
Right.
So this is the one class. Say ki whenever I'm going to create table, you pass me different length with height, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can create a table 1, table 2, table 1. I can create
Mm-hmm.
many number of table. Each table may be different length, different height, or same length, same height, right?
Right.
So let's just write one. If you notice table, let's 2 table, table 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here
Mm-hmm.
just let's print s out table, table 1, right?
Right.
S out table 2,
Right.
S out table 3. So look like here we created the same class. Now whenever I am going to create any object, we need a class. This is the class name I already first created, right?
Right.
And here say ki whenever going to construct this table, this is known as a constructor. This is known as
Mm-hmm.
a constructor. Whenever someone
Right.
going to create new table, that means ki our com- this table say ki whenever someone going to create my object construct table, they need this input mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
So you must pass these attribute like 20, 30, whatever the length with height, right?
True.
If you run, then at least we create table some logically makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But notice output look like here, right?
Uh,
They're not here. I want to print at least length with height, right?
right.
So whenever you want to printing any object, notice if here I print like any integer value, any primitive data type, the integer like x equal to 90, right? And whenever
Right.
I print x, they printing the value of x, right?
Right. 90.
But here I'm printing the my table, but
Right.
they are not printing my value 20, 30, 15, right?
No. Mm-hmm.
Because this table is create this class created by you, right? The compiler don't know the JVM don't know table is any object or not, right?
Acha.
But for
Acha. Acha.
primitive data type compiler, no, this is the x. That means they hold the only number value. So I can
That
print the
is
number,
X
right?
value. Yeah.
But here table compiler don't know ki here you are print one value, two value, three value, yeah, 10 value. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
So
Compiler
how
doesn't know that what is the table in here.
now I
So
say compiler, you know, don't know table, but I created this class for you.
okay.
So
Okay.
I am
Okay. Okay.
created this class, so I am responsibility to print what message I want to print, right?
Acha. Acha. Acha.
So I have to write a specific method like this. So I am going to create one method to string. Whenever
Uh,
I say ki this is a table of length, this is the length, this is the width, This is the height.
Hmm.
So whenever our system dot out of printer prints a table object, by default compiler know कि I am going to use your toString method. I call this method. So if your class have this method toString,
Hmm.
then compiler call you. Then if you print it, it will print the actual table details.
Okay.
Notice
When it
table.
will call, when it is going to call me from the
Whenever you
class
write in the
file.
system dot out to printer, then here.
Exactly, but like I have to mention this one as a class file. Okay,
Hmm,
that is that my table length, width, and height.
hmm.
So
So
when I'm going to mention is there, then it is like JVM is going to call that, or like
this method
compiler.
toString, yes, toString method is called by this println method.
Twisting method. Okay, it is okay. It is for anything. Twisting method is working for only for that math, length, width,
Right.
and height, or just like any like what's called that
Any whatever the things you could define here,
object.
you can
Okay,
print here.
okay, any
So
object.
any
Like I
of
have to print it that like I have to just like call twisting method.
right. So you call or by default compiler we call. Now notice we created table one with the width, length, height, table
Yeah.
two with a with different height, table three the different height, right? So now our object look like some existence, some reality, right?
Right.
Table must have some lines with it, right? Without, so now this is the class you can say. Now we have written one class or one specification for table. When someone
Mm-hmm.
going to construct table, I
Mm-hmm.
this is the mandatory thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is known as your Java class. Class is
Mm-hmm.
nothing. Here nothing. You say I can create table, but table must have a length, width,
Mm-hmm.
and height.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing known as a, so this is known as your attribute of the table. Table is
Okay.
a class. What is the attribute of table? Length, width, height.
Mm-hmm.
This is known as a your constructor. Whenever
Mm-hmm.
someone going to create my table object, I say ki- while constructing my table object, I need this input, three input. So this is known as a constructor.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your class. Class have a, here this is the attribute or field. Sometimes say this is the attribute, or sometimes you call also field, or sometimes you call the variable name,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is look like variable name, variable integer, variable width, variable length, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is your constructor. Constructor means ki whenever someone going to create the object of this table class, they must specify this specification. We need, so this is known as a constructor.
Mm-hmm.
This toString is the our function or method. This is the method
Mm-hmm.
or function.
Mm-hmm.
Once your object is created, I need to look now what is the appearance, how look like object, right?
Mm-hmm.
The appearance, what, how my table is created, how I check. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to invoke these two functions. Two functions
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, this is your detail. This is your height, this is your width, this is the length.
Mm-hmm.
So this is known as your method or function. This is
Mm-hmm.
the your constructor while constructing this input needed, and this
Mm-hmm.
is known your class field. Yeah, class name. What is the class table? Table name. This is the field. Yeah, attributes.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole class has a blueprint. Here there is no
Mm-hmm.
any kind of object, but you are just specify the specification. Hey, this is my table blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And here is the main method means ki your actual use, you are going to use table, right? Say this is the
Mm-hmm.
carpenter, this is the factory, right? You are
Mm-hmm.
first you declare your blueprint. Now
Mm-hmm.
this blueprint is not usable, right? You cannot use,
Mm-hmm.
here there is no need table, but you just say ki our table must have this attribute, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is your carpenter. You come carpenter, he say, ki, hey carpenter, create one table for me, but that should be the length this, with this, hide this. Now carpenter created the object for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now your object created. This is object created, right? With
Mm-hmm.
the help of your input. This is your input.
Mm-hmm.
And now you want to check how look like my table created. The
Mm-hmm.
here by default you say just check my function two
Mm-hmm.
string. So here you can write like this way, or you can write this way as well as say
Mm-hmm.
table one. This is my object. Invoke two string function, right?
Mm-hmm.
They return your complete detail, and you can just pout here is your table,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the your table string, table input. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
detail,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can check the appearance once you pass the length, width, height. You want to look now how carpenter created my table. Like you have to check. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to need the function a method. This is the two string method we have created. Give me the actual output. Now your table created, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the where you are creating the actual object. Now notice the both object detail. These things and these things are the same, right? The two
Mm-hmm.
way you can say just directly print the system.out.println, also two string method invoke, or manually you can call two string method, this automatic invoke, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this method is your function or method. So from one specification, one blueprint, we can create many number of table, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can say "Okay, this is a table for this different head height." Now new table created. New table created. Once your one blueprint is ready, you can construct any number of object, right?
Acha, acha, acha. Mm-hmm.
Still now
Mm.
any doubt and question with a class and object.
No, it is good.
Now it's clear.
Clear. Yeah.
And
It,
what is the
uh,
two string function is doing?
two string function,
There is a
whenever you
method.
call two string function, come here and here just return whatever you want. This is your responsibility. Let's keep
Oh,
I don't I just commented here and I say return table created. Let's table
Ajay,
created.
bhai, there is a one question. Just like you
Yes.
said, whatever we can write it down, but based on that, like in my class file, what I have written, right? Like
Uh,
for example, that one is for my table. I
uh,
just mentioned that like height, width, and length, right?
right.
The same thing I have to call in that two string method. Am I right?
No, two string method we have to whatever message you want today.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Here I am just want to table created, nothing else. This is my definition, na. This is my
Okay.
class. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Whatever thing I want to give, message table created. Let's you are looking the table created output.
But
Just
I
like a
have to
carpet.
but
Okay.
I have to just I mean, it should be relevant of that, like what I was
Ah,
calling
right.
in there before.
Here should be relevant. Someone want to do string means look what your object created. Look like what is that?
Exactly.
The good option we have to detail out this attribute, right? So
Acha,
here we
acha.
have to write length with detail, right?
Right. But like whatever we can write it down. But like
Right here.
in
There is
here
a
we
no
just
any kind of
mentioned
message.
this one. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
whenever someone created, you have to depict na कि this is the important detail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here
Acha.
that's your options. You want to just what message you want to display to the outside of world, right?
Ha, 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 ha. So in this scenario,
So in
one
this
thing.
scenario, one things it's good thing कि at least now we can write any number of method in this class blueprint. Two
What
string
does
method.
that what does that like mean? Any number
Let's
of
कि I
method.
want to know the area of this table.
Right.
So we
Acha.
have some
Okay.
method. Someone asked, now you table created. Give me the area of this method. That
Okay.
means
Then
we need to multiply by length and width.
yeah, exactly. But like that is the
Currently,
different
currently
method in
our
the.
specification say कि you created one table with
Mhm.
constructor with two string method. We just display the message, right?
You're right.
But here in this specification, I cannot say कि what would be the area. If this object, I want to say this is the object, I want to area. But there is no
Right.
area method.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know area.
Ha ha ha.
So here As per our my need, we have to going to add multiple method here,
Acha.
right? So
Right.
here I am going to, here should be some area method, like, so here say
Mm-hmm.
should be area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Area, and it should return the return like a length multiply by with,
Mm-hmm.
and here return your integer, right? So now this is the, you define one area method. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever going to, now notice it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So area area, you can print
Mm-hmm.
area this of table this table 3, right? So we
Right.
can calculate of table 3.
Mm-hmm.
So as per our need, in the blueprint we can define many number of method,
Acha.
like a, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you notice here we can find the area. Notice here all table created first, here also we can area of this table like this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So as per our requirement on this object, you
Mm-hmm.
can add many number of method,
Mm-hmm.
right?
True.
So here later some class parts will discuss more detail about this. Lots of things we have to discuss detail about the specification part card
Sure.
class. Majorly coming multiple classes we are going to discuss how this class we can create. This is the important part, right? This is the specification, this is your
Right.
blueprint, how you decide similar your object will be going to construct.
Right.
Like you have a design a car blueprint, right? Whatever the
Mm.
car blueprint you have designs, and you given the engine capacity and the capacity of your power, actual object created the same power they can run, right? They cannot go
Right.
beyond the speed or characteristics. So
Right.
in this blueprint, you have to be carefully think what things I'm going to add, what functions should be.
Mm-hmm.
But bus object creation is just duplicate same things were created multiple object, right? All
Mm-hmm.
behave same what you define in the specification
Right.
in the blueprint, right? If you
Right.
design a blueprint car, speed can be maximum 100. The all car created from this blueprint is speed only going to the up to 100, right? Because
Right.
you have to specify in a specification. So coming days we are only going to learn how we can define blueprint. What things we have to
Yeah.
consider while
Okay.
designing a blueprint. But here
Okay.
always blueprint when this is a basic common terminology. In the case
Uh,
of programming language, we can say we are going to discuss how we can write class.
acha. It has some rules regulation for that one.
Rules, regulation, things. Whenever you are
Um,
going to read the study like architect of designing the maybe house architecture, factory architect, anything, there are lots of rule we have to follow, right?
sure, 100%.
Similarly, whenever to going to design the class, means we have to follow lots of rule.
True.
So lots of coming classes we are going to only discuss what kind of rules, regulations you have to know before writing class, right?
100%. I do agree. Yeah.
Today we just discuss something, lots of things still pending, but this is the starting point, right? You
Right.
should know what is the class. In class what we can define some variable, some method, and some constructor. This is the one new word with today, constructor. Constructor is
Mm-hmm.
the same like your method name, but you notice this is the only differences. This is your method.
Mm-hmm.
I think already we have discussed many time method, but if you notice, this is the method name is anything like area, like surface, like length, like width, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
constructor name is always same as your class name,
Mm-hmm.
because whenever someone going to create the object of the class, they are using the class name. In the
Mm-hmm.
class name, we have to pass some input parameter, right?
Right.
So your this method look like a same as a class name. Method name always the same as a class name, right? And
Sure.
notice this method don't have any return value. Notice,
Okay, method doesn't have a
look
return.
like a method. Look, this is the method.
Yeah,
Method
yeah.
have a name, an open close, and return value. But here,
It,
this is like a name is the same as your class name, right?
yeah,
But
right.
no return value. So due to that, this is not a method. This is a constructor. While
This is a,
constructing this table object, this is the your mandatory parameter.
okay. It is a mandatory parameter, but it is okay. Not return
So
value.
this is
It is a
known as a
construct.
constructor. This is known as a method, right? So generally, whenever you are going to defining any blueprint, some things we have to remember, like your class name, like your variable name,
Mm-hmm.
like your constructor, like your method.
Okay, that's mean it is in the lots of things we are learning today. That is
Right.
like
Lots of
classes,
rules. Just we
object,
are going to run
attribute,
rules and regulation for your.
method construction.
Yes.
Yeah.
So till now, any doubt you have? What is the class? What is the object?
No, no, no. That is clear. That
Yeah.
One thing
is.
clear, class is a just logical entity, just specification on paper, not reality. This is the just written something. There is no any use, right? Until you are not
Right.
going to create object. So here in a real main method, here I am going to create the object. Maybe object one, object two, object three,
Right.
right? Any number of one blueprint, we can create many number of entities. Similarly, here you can.
True. 100% agree. No,
I
that's
think
good. Yeah.
Riyad, you have anything? Or it's okay.
Yeah, I'm back.
So these are the basic things about this class, about this object, about this method, right?
Right.
Oh,
And to print anything, we need the two-string
yes,
method.
yeah. If
No,
you're not
another.
writing, yeah,
We can call another method as well.
yeah, you can
That's
write another
different.
method. Let's.
Yeah.
I am not writing this method. Okay, not writing this method.
Another method we are going to try.
Let's
But
comment out here.
here
Okay.
is one question I do have,
Yes.
Oteve. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can write it down another method for sure. That is like at overwrite. So we have
I'll detail. If you not write, it still works. This is the compiler edit. Don't worry.
okay, sure.
If uncomment, it's
Mm.
in later part we discuss what this meaning. Just indication.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure, sure.
what the meaning of that, but it's not required. If you run, still your code works.
Yeah, because
If
of
you
when I
code,
write down the code for the automation, then I
yeah,
had to like write it down as well. Yeah.
yeah. So notice code works. Even this two string method is not mandatory. If you not write this, that's I commented out. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I am commented out. Why not comment happen? Okay, Control Z, Control Z. This is the your commented line, and if you run, still your compiler is not because this is your class. It's your responsibility what you want to write, what you don't write, right? But by
Mhm.
default, compiler is going to print something garbage value, right? Notice just
Yeah.
class package name and class name or something hash
Right.
number, right? So
Right.
I
Right.
don't want to print something this, right?
Right.
So that due to write, maybe you have to write this own method. So don't
Mhm.
write. Oh, sorry. So I can write my method just here, and instead of two string, I just say just print, right? Print table.
Mhm.
Just say
Yeah, right.
print table. Okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
print table. And now I am going to say just call print table method here. Say
Mhm.
this is the one. If you call the print table method like here, say just comment out here. Okay, comment out here, comment out here, right? And say
Mhm.
table one. Just say out table one dot dot print table.
Mhm.
This is my method.
Mhm.
It will print
Mhm.
my table. And this method we have defined. This is the my table detail, right? It will
All right.
also works,
Mhm.
right? Notice for this print table works, right?
Mhm.
So
Oh, okay, okay. I see.
if you
Mhm.
define your own method print table, About this method, compiler don't know. The for you have to manually call right here. For
Mm-hmm.
here, notice still they are not print calling to print method, not calling to print method.
Right.
So due to that, if because this print table you only you know, your class know, but JVM don't know कि we have to call this to print method. They are print table, right?
Right.
Due to that, in this here they are not calling. For here not calling to print. You have already method, but their compiler don't know. So compiler given some instructions. If you write two string method in your code, I'll call you. If your class contain two string method, then this print method say I am call you by default two string method.
Right.
If your class have this two string method, compiler call. If not have method, not call, right? So some rules. This is the one rules as a Java designer say. If you want to print something like this, you have to just override, give the definition of two string method. Because compiler means our system dot print method. Print method no, I am going to invoke two string method. This print
Mm-hmm.
method logic given by the your like a Java designer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So Java designer initially decided if any object you want to printing, so how I print detail, I don't know. But I assume if your class, which you define, if you return this two string method, then I can call. Other
Mm-hmm.
than any method you return, like print table, I don't know, I cannot call you,
Mm.
right? So later
Right.
part we discuss other things, what the meaning. But as of now, you understand, if you want, by default, our this system.out.println method can
Mhm.
print my detail. So you have to
Right.
give the definition of two string, then come by default print method call you. If you not
Right.
given two string, then they don't call. Might be you have written the similar like print table method, but this is not going to call by the by default this print method. You have to
Mm.
manually go. This is the print method. I am manually saying call this method like a print table, right?
Okay.
Is it okay? The lots of rules regulation we are going to study in couple of days about
So,
this. Yes.
uh, do you just like suggest any site from the site we can just like read and then memorize and then
No,
practice from?
don't need to
Mm.
any kind of reading memorization.
Okay, sure.
Just
Okay.
need practice.
Okay, sure. Or just less
Don't
familiar with the Java.
programming languages are not memorization things.
True, true. No,
Don't do
100%
anything.
true.
Just do exercise. Let's visualize some object in real time and try to create the blueprint. First, create the blueprint and then try to make object. Let's here with example table. Let's say lots
Mm-hmm.
of real entity object you have, right?
True,
Let's
true,
create a dog. Let's create a
mm,
cat.
true. Okay.
And just think कि table have generally क्या? Table have some length with height, some area, some shape might be right. Can be shape rectangle, can be shape square. So might be one function not needed, right?
Evolve is
This
something.
table
Yeah.
is what's the shape? Is rectangle or is square?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Might be one more function needed here. It's what is the shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
If
True.
our length and width are the same, then you can say it's a square shape, right? Or
Right.
maybe length and width are not same, then we can say it is a rectangle shape, right?
Right.
You can visualize this architect blueprint. One kind of more feature we can give, right?
True.
So depend upon the table or depend upon the class name which you are going to design or we are going to specify. You are going to design the blueprint. We have to think reality. What things real you can define here.
True.
Okay, might be for each table I want to like here I need area. Similarly, I want key. Just tell me the shape of what is the shape of this table? Rectangle
Yeah.
or square,
Exactly.
right?
Or oval shape or something other
What the
other.
one?
Yeah.
Now, if someone goes to table dot two dot get shape, no get shape method, right? No get shape method, right?
Yeah.
Because we have not in our specification till now we have not
Yeah.
decided what the shape method would be.
Right.
So
Right.
compiler say, "Okay, oh, I don't know this shape method, right?
Right. Then I have to call this one.
You cannot call them because the compiler say in your table specification I didn't found any get shape method. Compiler
Okay.
read this to your table specification. Here read there is only area and print table and two string. Only
Right.
three method here. So you can call these three. But here you're
Yeah.
trying to say God get safe. No get safe here. I'm not
No.
happy.
Yeah. So then that's mean I have to create. I have to
I
call
have
them.
to yes, I have to
Call
go
that.
my blueprint and here I have to give definition. What do you mean by
Design.
get safe?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Then I have to call another method for
Yes,
shape method. Yeah.
right? So
Exactly.
lots of things in one class. It's not cover all the things,
No,
but
definitely. It is.
yeah,
It is
multiple
huge.
classes we are
Definitely.
going to think about this blueprint structure. Lots
Sure.
of things we have to discuss. Maybe three, four classes we have to go, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So hope you have a understand little bit about the class and object.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Now I can say, like, before I was getting, like, just confused about
We
that.
have some idea,
But
right?
now I got it. Just like the
What
there
is
is
this
a
thing?
class is a blueprint.
Hmm.
Which one it is, like, as a design pattern or design, and then object is the, like, based on that design we are going to just, like, we can feel it, we can touch it, or we
Yes,
are going to make a copy or something, like,
right,
production. After the production we are going to create something. Which one we can touch, that is the
correct,
object.
right.
And then the
So
class is a fully, like, a design, which one in the paper
hmm,
or just like in the blueprint.
right,
uh,
good.
that's the
So
things.
let's only my recommendation. Let's do start practicing here, right?
Oh, sure, sure. No, no.
There is a no need to just read and memorize anything, right?
Okay, sure, sure.
Right. Sure.
So that's okay for the day.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
Aditya. Just from the beginning of the time, just like you talk about, like, for our personal things for the resumes and everything.